is Florin Andrei. I've been with Bitdefender for the past 15 years, and for the last 3 years, I've been appointed as product manager for our Bitdefender VPN product. And today I'm going to go through the questions that I've received via our community expert community platform, and hopefully I will be able to provide the answers that we're looking for. So I'm just going to dive into it with the first question, which is it even essential to use a VPN on secure networks like your home network? So while your home network is indeed more secure, this doesn't completely remove the need to use a VPN, because you have to remember that your ISP will still be able to track, to see and track anything that you do online. So if you're worried that your ISP is sharing your data with third parties or even the government, then you may want to use a VPN even at home. And this actually applies to all networks, secure or not, as long as they're not your home network. But if it's a network that's not managed by you, you also have to ask how much do you trust the administrator of that network. So in the end, if it's essential or not, I'd have to say that it actually depends on how each of us um, interpret, understand, and value privacy. And now I'm going to move to the next question. Um, how important is it to be connected to a VPN? And do you need to be connected all the time or only on open networks? So, yeah, definitely, I would say that at a bare minimum, you should always connect to a VPN, should connect your VPN when you're using an open or public Wi-Fi, or I would actually extend that to any Wi-Fi that is not in your control. Um, Whereas staying connected all the times does bring other benefits as well. And I would say that the most important one is that your digital self is almost impossible to accurately profile. And that's especially if the VPN that you're using also has an anti-tracker module. Now, while most people say that they do value privacy, and that they're concerned that their data is not being handled properly by companies that they're where they have their accounts, or even the government, few people actually understand the extent of what profiling is, what it does, what it means, and because of that, even fewer are actually willing to act on it, to do something about it, especially as long as there's no immediate or obvious threat to them, to their lives, to their security. Well, so the Cambridge Analytica incident did offer us a glimpse of what can be done when you harvest and process enough data about a person. And what's worrying is that most users will actually associate profiling with ads, targeted ads for products that companies want you to buy. Whereas the truth is that with the data that is currently available for a single customer, if you're accurately profiled, uh, companies will also be able to not only to target you with specific ads, but even influence your choices or your views, your behavior, and perhaps even influence your friends, and family. So getting back to the initial question, for now, I actually only dare to hope that each of us will use a VPN at least when doing potentially sensitive information, activities online. So basically, anything that could lead to data theft or identity theft, blackmail, and any other activities that you easily associate with a potential risk against your physical or digital person. And I'm thinking mostly about activities such as online shopping, on banking, everything that's related to financial or health. Um, so basically stuff like that. And I'm now gonna move forward to the next question. I have them in front of me. What are the benefits of a VPN connection? So there's actually a wide range of use and of applicability for a VPN. I would start with the most important one. So there's the privacy aspect, because when you use a VPN, what you do online is for your eyes only. Nobody can intercept your traffic and see exactly what you're browsing, what you're streaming, and stuff like that. And that leads us to the second benefit. Uh, your traffic, your internet traffic, can't be used against you in any way. Um, so what I'm trying to say by that is, so at let's say at the lesser end of the spectrum, this means that you are harder to track or to profile online. So this might imply that your data or profile will be less appealing to companies trying to target you with specific ads. Um, while at the opposite end of the spectrum, uh, it actually means that the VPN can shield you from specific targeted attacks, such as the denial of service attacks that are targeted specifically against you, your IP, your location, anything like that. Um, Another benefit of using a VPN is that you could there's actually a chance that you can potentially unlock cheaper uh, travel costs and accommodation costs. Obviously, you can't expect to shave like hundreds of dollars off your flight ticket. That's never going to happen. But if you're a frequent traveler and you're able to save $20, $30 for each flight that you're taking, it actually means that you only need two flights per year in order to compensate for the price that you've paid for the VPN subscription. So I'm guessing that's totally worth it. And that also applies to hotels or Airbnbs or even car rentals. Um, Now, another benefit would be so yeah, most of us know that, and most people know that streaming platforms hold and display different content libraries depending on the region of the user. And that's mostly due to copyright laws. Are not allowed to show a specific title in the entire world, and only in some certain countries. But that can also be a downside for you. So let's say that uh, um, you're a huge sports fan living in the United Kingdom, but then you have to travel to the Philippines for work for 3 weeks or something like that. So you will want to take your favorite shows with you, and the VPN can help you do that. So you can unlock, if you connect to a VPN to a server located in the United Kingdom, you will be able to see the same titles that you would normally see when you are in physically in the United Kingdom. And I would say that another benefit would be that um, so some websites may offer their content only in specific countries and blacklist every other territory. So obviously, with a VPN, you can bypass those restrictions and access the content freely. Um, uh, I would say that these are the main benefits. There's obviously more that can diverge from these main ones, but for now I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to skip to the next question. Move to the next question. Um, in general, what is the need of using the VPN when I know the websites that I'm visiting on a daily basis are safe and secure? Also, I know I have Bitdefender actively running in the background to protect me from malware and malicious slash phishing websites. Additionally, I'm using uBlock Origin, AdGuard Ad Blocker, Ghostery, Privacy Badger, and Disconnect extension with all the filters activated on my web browser without slowing down the browsing speed. I am also using HTTPS everywhere, and I have disabled WebRTC in my browser. So, do I still need a VPN? Um, a good move with disabling the WebRTC in your browser. I have to take those one at a time. So, I think the main point here is that all of those apps are actually only they're just browser extensions. So they will only be able to filter traffic that's done by the browser as long as the extensions are active, but they can't filter the entire traffic that the device is doing. So that's definitely important, and this is where the VPN actually takes the cake. Second, I would actually argue that using so many ad blockers and anti-trackers, because mostly those extensions are ad blockers and anti-trackers. But I would argue that it's efficient, even though you won't notice or you may not notice a speed penalty. There's no way that all of them will work properly at the same time. Uh, Mostly because they can't all filter the same traffic at the same time. So if one of those extensions will block a certain request, that request cannot be picked up and blocked by the other extensions in the same time. So they will mostly be rendered useless. At least that's my take on it. And I would actually say that so I'm actually going to go even further and say that it's not only about the security of your device, which is protected by Bitdefender, or the security of the websites that you're visiting. It's still a matter of your traffic being potentially intercepted and used against you. And I'm not talking necessarily by your ISP. It can also be there could also be bad actors coming into play. Uh, so I would say that this is where a VPN is more beneficial than all of those browser extensions combined. Okay, that's that. I'm going to move to the next question. Let me see. Why did Bitdefender automatically install a VPN on all my machines without permission and then force me to opt out by uninstalling it? Why does it sometimes reinstall itself after I remove it? Right. So the VPN is part of all Bitdefender security suites. So all customers uh, will also benefit from a free VPN subscription, which offers 200 megabytes per day per device for up to 10 devices. To have, which should be enough to handle essential tasks. Um, so for that, we do need to install the VPN automatically alongside each installation of a Bitdefender security suite. On the other hand, if a customer chooses to uninstall it, it should definitely stay uninstalled. I mean, we haven't implemented any logic that in order to reinstall uh, the VPN once a customer uninstalled it. What we do know is that right now we do have isolated cases when the VPN does reinstall itself when the Bitdefender security suite goes through a major product update, which also brings back the VPN. So this is something that we're currently investigating, and I actually believe that we're getting pretty close to a resolution. So we should address it in the following weeks. Okay, moving on to the next question. Can VPN protect me against malware? Um, Basically, no. So, okay. So, the short answer is that you shouldn't actually expect your VPN to properly protect your device against malware. I do admit that recently I've seen several other VPN providers that say that they have included anti-malware capabilities into their VPN. However, my personal interpretation is that it's highly unlikely that their implementation uh, is as efficient as using a full-fledged standalone security solution. But okay, I guess that up to a certain extent, you can expect to receive a basic level of protection, uh, either by filtering traffic at a DNS level or by using blacklists, which can be either static and located on the device or even in the cloud and updated dynamically. But it's definitely nowhere near the capabilities that security solution has to offer. Um, you have to understand that many of the threats that are in the wild today require dedicated, very specific and specialized and dedicated technology in order to detect and to remove. And that's something that you can confidently expect to see only in a dedicated standalone security solution. Okay, and I actually think that answers that. I'm going to move to the next one. Okay. Why is the VPN slowing my internet connection? Right. So, um, even though this is a common question, it's also rather tough to explain. Um, so the thing is that depending on the location that you choose to connect to, so the location of the VPN server that you choose to connect to, a certain impact in performance is to be expected. So this is mostly because the signal has to travel a longer way, a longer path to reach its destination. And this is especially true if you're connecting over long distances. So let's say that you're in the United Kingdom and you connect to a VPN server across the ocean to the United States, then you should, or even Australia, then you should definitely expect to see a certain performance degradation. Normally, if the VPN infrastructure is performing well, and there's no overload, and the VPN servers are using powerful and state-of-the-art hardware, then the impact shouldn't be more than 20, 25 to 30%. in speed penalty. Whereas if you would connect to a much closer location, then the impact would probably be unnoticeable. And there's also the upside to this is that when using a VPN, you could actually see a boost in performance, and this is due to mainly two reasons. One, your ISP may choose to throttle your speed in certain scenarios, such as when doing heavy traffic, such as file transfers or 4K streaming, uh, or the servers that you're connecting along the way are not performing as they should. So you may see um, um, a lower internet speed when not connected to a VPN because of a higher latency on those nodes along the way to the destination, whereas the VPN could actually connecting to a VPN could provide a lower latency, especially when connecting to a server that is nearby. Um, okay, and I'm gonna move to the next one. What is the difference between the premium VPN and the VPN for business? Right. So the only notable difference is that the VPN for business should match the number of devices for the VPN that is also available under the security subscriptions, which has a limit of 25 devices, whereas the premium VPN can hold, so has a fixed limit of up to 10 devices per subscription. So it doesn't go all the way up to 25, so it's only 10 devices. And that's the only difference between them. I'm going to move to the next one. Um, can the phone VPN have the same auto connect feature as the one for PC? Um, right. So first of all, I'm actually glad that you find this feature useful. Right now, the full auto connect feature is available on Windows, and we're currently working on implementing it on Mac OS as well. We expect that it will be available and released in the market in the next 2 to a maximum of 3 months. Um, in the same time, we are exploring introducing it on Android, but we're looking for an elegant way of implementing it in order to provide a smooth customer experience and also not interfere with all of the other services that are running on the device. However, on iOS, unfortunately, as where we are today, there's no um, technically feasible way for us to implement the full auto connect on iOS as well. So for the moment, that's out of scope. However, Mac and Android will actually most definitely be released in the near future. Okay. And I think I'm now reached the last question. Let me see. Um, why are some websites restricted when using a VPN connection, and how can we bypass such restrictions? Okay. Okay. So I think that the most important thing to note here is that it's actually not the VPN that's blocking access to that particular website. It's actually the website that is configured in such a way to not allow access to users to customers that are using a VPN at that particular moment. And so I'm going to offer some examples. So one of the more common scenarios pertain to licensing and distribution agreements, and I'm mostly referring here to streaming providers, Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, and the list is huge. So these providers are licensed to distribute a certain content only in specific territories. Therefore, they do need to block users outside of those territories to view that particular content. Otherwise, they would breach their agreements. The downside to this, obviously, and I did mention this before, is if you are so if you're located in a territory where you do have access to a particular title, and when you travel abroad, then you do lose access, and this is where you would need to use a solid VPN in order to unblock those restrictions imposed by the streaming provider, in order to be able to view the title that you would originally be able to view from back home. Okay, so that's one example. Another scenario that I can think of is related to your banking application. So, um, let me give you a for instance. So let's say that you're at home and you're doing some shopping online and paying with your credit card, and then you leave for work, but on your way there you stop by the coffee shop around the corner and grab a cup of coffee. You pay with the same credit card, um, and like half an hour later, you're using your phone. You have your VPN connected to a location 8,000 miles away, and then you open your banking app. This will immediately raise a flag with your bank, because of the difference between in location between those two transactions that you've done at home versus the fact that you've opened your app from 8,000 miles away. So this will definitely trigger their anti-fraud systems. So in this case, it might actually be more recommended not to use the VPN for this specific activity. Okay, and oh, okay, there's obviously there's a third scenario possible as well. So basically, some websites simply are configured in such a way not to allow access when the user is using a VPN. And truth be told, in at least in my opinion, there's very little legitimate interest behind this, because all this tells me is that that website wants to have access to your real data, your real location, real IP, and real device details, operating system, the browser and version that you're using, and stuff like that. And there are very few scenarios where this is actually a legitimate um, expectation from the website, in which case I would actually simply recommend you to avoid visiting them. Okay, and I think that's about it. I hope I've been able to answer all of the questions to your liking. I'll definitely be available going forward if you need to know anything else from me. I thank you for your time and your patience, and have a great evening. Bye. Thank you.